Hi, I'm Graham Lasso, and you're listening to Eat, Sleep, Chelsea, Repeat with Chris, Craig, and Brady.
Sleep, Chelsea, repeat. Eat, sleep, Chelsea, repeat. Eat, sleep, Chelsea, repeat. Eat, sleep, Chelsea, repeat.
Welcome to the Eat, Sleep, Chelsea, Repeat pod. Headline this week, Chelsea hammer West Ham. Today I am joined by my brother Craig. How are we feeling? 5-1.
Cole Palmer FC. The tag is gone. That's what I will say. For the first time pretty much in the last 2 seasons we've played without Cole Palmer and looked like we didn't massively miss him. So that's my main takeaway. And yeah, look, it's always nice to score 5 goals in a Premier League game.
Yeah, it is, and 5 different goal scorers as well. I think Neto scoring a goal is probably what sent Brady away. He couldn't make it today.
He's still crying about Neto scoring.
One to watch. Right, we're gonna break down the game. We're gonna go around the grounds today as well. We're gonna talk about some of the other games that were in action, and obviously we'll come on to our temperatures as well. And we've got plenty of other topics to look at as well. So let's start with Chelsea. Obviously 5-1 for the Blues. Paqueta scoring for West Ham within 6 minutes, but then it all started going horribly wrong for him. So goals from Pedro Neto, not Pedro Neto, but Joao Pedro, Pedro Neto, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, and Chalobah. XG wise, well, it was 2.7 for Chelsea and 0.7 for West Ham. 58% possession for Chelsea, 86% pass accuracy, 7 shots on target out of 12, much better than last week, and 3 saves out of 4 for Robbie Sanchez. Craig, tell me how you felt about the game. What were your kind of likes and dislikes? What have you got?
Well, let's start with dislikes, and obviously the obvious one is the injuries starting to take a little bit of a toll on the team. Colwill out for the season, Fofana not there or not available to start still. Lavia not back until after the international break, and now Cole Palmer looks like he's going to at least sit on the sidelines after the international break as well, at the very minimum. So, key players really for us. I think if you look at especially Palmer, Fofana and Colwill, 3 very key starters weren't able to start in this game. Lavia as well is obviously an important player for us in a different garden. Maybe not a definite starter, but an important player for us in certain games for sure. So yeah, just it's sad to start the season, missing really, really important players. So yeah, that's my dislike is the injuries starting to rack up a little bit, unfortunately, already.
Yeah, and I guess maybe it's the hangover of what was a never-ending season, really, last season, as we plough on, really, with this season. But I guess, positive, if I'm going to spin it on its head, is opportunity knocks. And I think we've seen some pretty good performances, obviously looking at West Ham, from some of the people who've had to come in, most notably a very young player, Esteval Willian, who no one's heard of, I'm sure. But yeah, he's absolutely rocking it at 18 in the Premier League.
Can we pronounce his name properly? So we say we got to pronounce it how he wants us to. I think let's make an effort on the pod. What is it? Steval, no e.
Esteval.
No e. Just Steval.
Steval.
There we go.
Esteval Willian. Should we just call him Willian?
Well, I think one of the Chelsea songs from Friday night was "We'll just call him Steve." We'll just call him Steve. Esteval Willian. We'll just call him Steve. Yeah, it's good. That might take off, Steve. Just like Dave did for Aspilicueta. I think Steve might be good for Steval.
Steve Willian. There you go. Yeah, so for me, one of the likes was opportunity knocks. I think we played the people who've come into the team. I think you also got to look at Delap as well. But I think a lot of the people who've come in have been really good. Gusto obviously came in for James as well, who didn't start. Obviously Chalobah and Tosin are sort of backups in that sense. So yeah, it's been pretty happy.
That was my like as well. Was squad depth coming into play already, and I think one thing you could not complain about in this current ownership model is the effort they make around building the squad as a whole. Our squad, you look at our bench basically when everyone's fit, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it is littered with superstars. Whereas if you look at, for example, Liverpool's bench last night at Newcastle, I mean, I know the kid came on that 16-year-old who we might even talk about later, but Rio came on and got the winner for Liverpool. But if you look at their bench, in terms of impact, Chiesa and him, I mean, those are the two attacking options they've got on the bench, looking very weak. So I think the squad depth for us is a real strength, and should be praised.
Yeah. The dislike for me was sort of a couple of things, really, but I think the way we started the game was really odd. I didn't like the intent. There was no intensity, basically. I think that it was pretty, you could see that within the first goal. Paqueta's just sort of walking about outside our back line. No one's closing him down, and he gets shot off. But there just seemed to be a lack of intensity in our game. The goal kind of felt like it woke us up a bit. So sometimes that is a good thing in that sense. But I was surprised. I didn't think we played particularly well in the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes of this game. But obviously, West Ham, I felt, shot themselves in the foot a lot with how they played. So yeah, I wasn't overly impressed with how we started, but obviously, the more the game went on, the easier it got really for us. And I really commend the way that we approached the end of the first half, certainly. But I thought we were pretty professional in the second half as well, and saw it over the line. Maybe up until kind of the lap went off, I thought kind of maybe lost our way a little bit after that. But yeah, for me, dislike. It's a London derby. We didn't win the first game. I thought we would be more up for it, and we weren't, which was a bit surprising. But yeah, we obviously played our way out of it in the end against quite a poor opponent.
Yeah, I guess my counter argument to that was that ideally West Ham wouldn't sit in a low block all day. In terms of the way we play, it's better if they come out and try and play. And I think the pressure was really on them at home after a shocking result week 1. If it was going to be, the crowd getting on their back, if they weren't pushing forward, etc. We maybe didn't need to start that game a million miles an hour pressing. Whereas, for example, Fulham on Saturday, we will need to start that a million miles an hour for sure. I would be, disappointed if we came out sluggish in the same way as that. But I think we could have sort of just eased our way into this West Ham game a little bit better and keep the pressure on them in terms of pushing some action. Because I know there was moments in the first half where Enzo and Caicedo were passing it back and forwards with each other. You could hear the frustration of their fans as they sort of sat back. It was quite funny. So the pressure was on West Ham Friday night for sure. So taking advantage of that's always nice as well, and don't have to always gung ho press.
Yeah, and I think actually the Sunderland game the previous week was probably a big benefit for us in that. So they they needed to come and do something like you say. So yeah, all these results matter. And
let's talk about some results. Come on, the segue into it.
The perfect segue. Right, we're going to go around the grounds. We're going to keep it short and sharp. But let's start at the Etihad. Man City 0, Tottenham 2. What are your thoughts?
Thomas Frank, great manager. I said when he was, up there with Maresca and Kieran McKenna as in the final 3 for our shortlist, I think he's a great manager. I think analytically sound, progressive, can tactically affect games. I always thought he's a great manager. I thought he's a great fit at Spurs. I think they'll be good this year. They'll be a lot better than last season. Back-to-back clean sheets for Spurs, unheard of really. And yeah, fantastic performance for them.
Yeah, I think I didn't have City to win the league. I think they were I think people are starting to see the deficiencies in their team.
They're broken City, really, don't they? Like unfixable broken.
Yeah, I think the De Bruyne, Rodri. I said this about Madrid. I said this in the previous pod. The loss of De Bruyne and Rodri in midfield is you can't replace that, and certainly you can't replace it cheap. So I think they've got a long way to go to get back to levels they need to get to. So I can see them swimming around in the sort of top 4 race. To be honest with you, that is a shocking result at home for them. I know they've got a bad record against Tottenham, but they played badly for me. And they were quite easy to play through. Right, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0.
Yeah, not a surprise result really. Bournemouth probably could have had more goals looking at the highlights. Semenyo in my fantasy team missed a couple of really easy chances. Really disappointing. But yeah, Wolves are going to be rubbish.
I think so.
No surprise.
Yeah. Semenyo missed a really big chance, I think, from about 5 yards, like a yard, didn't he, over the bar? Hit the bar.
Yeah.
Brentford 1, Villa 0.
Villa, shocking start to the season. That's really going to put some pressure on them in the market as we come to the end of it here, because I think they need some help, some support, and maybe that might impact Chelsea, because Nkunku and Jackson have both been linked with them in the last week by Romano. So Brentford, surprising home win. I thought they would really struggle this season, but this is a great result. I really like that Atara guy they signed from Bournemouth. I thought he was a good player at Bournemouth as well. So yeah, maybe they're going to be not so bad. They've got a good structure, Brentford. They're kind of like Brighton in the way they're structured. So maybe the manager change isn't going to impact them as much, but we'll see.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Villa is the case of a really good example of why loaning is a bad system, because their team from last year, half the attack was loaned and they've all dipped away. So yeah, they are going to have to do something. Burnley 2, Sunderland 0.
Yeah, I guess slightly surprising result in the sense that I think Sunderland had obviously a really good game week 1, but yeah, I mean, two teams I don't really know much about, to be honest, but a good result for Burnley.
Yeah, I think they were looking pretty good at home. There's always going to be a tough game, but this is the first time. Well, this is all the promoted teams have won now a match, which I didn't think happened till November. They said on M&F, so lovely to see that. Arsenal 5, Leeds 0.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arsenal scored 5 goals from 3xG versus 0.17 for Leeds. I mean, it was a pretty dominant game. Arsenal corner, masterclass as usual. Leeds, I think, are going to be competitive this year, but this is one of the toughest game, if not the toughest game of the season for them. So
yeah, probably a write-off for Leeds this one, but like you say, Arsenal dominant, pretty expected. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Yeah, I thought Palace would go out and win this game. Forest actually battled quite well in the second half, played all right. Probably draw seemed fair.
Yeah, I think this was probably a very fair result in the end, but not surprising, very, very competitive teams. We'll be seeing them in the top half, I think. Everton 2, Brighton 0, their brand new spanking stadium.
Yeah, Brighton the first team to be dicked down the Hill Dickinson Stadium. You might have to bleep that out, I don't know. Always going to be a dangerous game with a crowd fully behind them in the opener. Brighton, I don't know what to make of them yet this season, but obviously the underlying analytics from the game suggest they didn't play so badly and probably didn't deserve to lose 2-0, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not. I watched this one and Brighton definitely didn't. 2-0 flat as Everton. I think they were very fortunate, but they needed a bit of luck in their kind of opening day of their new stadium. But I think Brighton, more to come from them, definitely. Fulham 1, Manchester United 1.
Horrible Mason Mount dive for the penalty, and then Fernandes blasted it over. Absolutely hilarious. I think draw seemed fair result in this game. I think both teams were sort of all right, but nothing special.
Yeah, this is a difficult game, I think, for a lot of teams this season. Fulham will take points off teams, but I think United actually probably could have won this one. I think they had enough chances that they created. I don't think they'll be as bad as people think they are this season, United. I think they're going to be in and around the top half, maybe pushing for Europe. Newcastle 2, Liverpool 3.
Great game to watch last night for the neutrals. Of Liverpool, obviously very fortunate to win. I thought they were absolutely atrocious basically for the whole game. They got absolutely battered in the first half, and then even when down to 10 men, they were looking like they were getting battered for most of the second half as well. So I think Liverpool will be massively disappointed with their overall performances in the first 2 games, but with the results, 6 points, 6 out of 6, so can't complain about that. Yeah,
I think this one was always going to be a really entertaining game, as it has been before. But Liverpool just edged it. I think quality told in the end in the key areas for me in the attack. Newcastle not looking too bright there. I think they're going to struggle unless they sign a striker. But yeah, like you say, champions find a way to win. So that could be that. Right, that rounds up the games. Let's move on to temperatures.
Time to see whose form's on top, who's heating up, whose temperature's dropped, who's been playing well and who's not. It's freezing, warming up, boiling hot.
So we're going to do temperatures slightly different this week, maybe going forward. We're going to just reel them off and then we'll chat about them, see if we agree or disagree.
So I'll go Rob Sanchez as my freezer.
Yeah, this was my freeze as well. Wasn't much to pick from in this one, but I think it's. I also think it's quite harsh freezer, because I think the ball does move around a lot. It was noted for
this gave me Kepa vibes. This one. This was a Kepa classic.
I don't know if it was a Kepa classic. Kepa loves to just sort of dive the wrong way. looked like he's diving the right way, but he's sort of, a yard off it. This was a concentration issue, I think, potentially. But yeah, I don't think he was
expecting to shoot. I don't think for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, he was caught flat-footed a little bit, wasn't he? And then he kind of
He took the wrong step. He stepped the wrong way, and then I mean, to be fair, the new balls do seem like they're lively in the air.
Agreed. Yeah, I do think that, but you shouldn't be getting beaten from there. But it was a good strike. It is tough. Sometimes you just have to hold your hand up and say he hit the ball really sweet. Okay,
yeah,
but
universal agreement on Freezer. Let's see if we can get one on warming up.
This will be interesting.
I don't think we're going to get the same guy for warming up. Mine is Pedro Neto.
Yeah, mine's Delap.
Okay, let me talk about Neto first. It's a little bit of a controversial one. I just think he seems to really get on with Maresca. Maresca seems to really trust him. He's contributing goals and assists and has done in the last sort of few game weeks going back to the Club World Cup. And I just feel like he could be an important glue guy for everything this season to be built around. And just nice to see him contribute for goals and assists early as well.
Yeah, agreed. I think it feels like he kind of feels like he's supposed to be there. I think maybe he might, not like imposter syndrome last season, but it definitely felt like he was kind of getting up to speed, maybe more worried about his injury record, whatever. But he was kind of learning how to play a little bit in terms of us. I feel like he feels like he's a senior player now, and people trust him. I think the Club World Cup did wonders for him. I think people now see him as that, and his work rate up and down is insane. Really hard to buy that. Really, really hard to buy that.
And back-to-back 90 minutes as well. I just think that's underrated.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, he's top. I'll talk about Delap. I thought everything good about us went through him in one way or another. I thought he held the ball up so well. It's quite a selfless task, playing the way he did. And I think people struggle with that, especially people who like to think, like to be good on the ball. Pedro's he's quite a busy player on the ball. He likes to be doing stuff going forward. Not a lot of people want to just stand there with their back to goal and receive the ball, get kicked up the backside, and then sort of lay it off. But I thought he worked tirelessly, Delap, and I think there's definitely a feeling after the Gittins performance that he's not maybe the answer at left wing at the moment. So I think this could be the new look.
Yeah, I do like the having someone to sort of bounce the ball off a lot with Delap. I do think we missed that against Palace, and when he came on, Delap, we looked slightly better attacking wise. So yeah.
And I thought we looked worse when he went off, which I think was quite telling. In terms of ball retention up top. All right, boiling hot.
I mean, boiling hot's the easy one for me. It's João Pedro. I know Stevao got man of the match, and we can talk a little bit about him. But João Pedro just, it's amazing how he settled into life at Chelsea. If you look at, some players that need time or, struggle to get a first goal or whatever, since he's come in to Chelsea, he's scored 2 goals against Fluminense, a goal against Paris Saint-Germain, a goal in the preseason game against Leverkusen, a goal against Milan, and now a goal and 2 assists against West Ham. Only Palace he didn't score or assist in. Just Palace that he didn't even... Sorry, it's only been Palace that he didn't score in the last 6 games. So, I mean, outstanding return for him coming into the team. You forget as well, he's only 23 years old. He's not an old experienced player coming into the team. He's a younger guy, and he's just settled well. Seems to get on well with everyone as well. One of the issues with him potentially when we signed him was he's a low character guy. No one in Brighton's dressing room really liked him, or we were hearing that some sort of sentiment around that. I don't see that at all with him. I can see a bit of a fiery personality, but I can't see any sort of lack of sort of teamwork with him. So yeah, really happy with everything around João Pedro.
Yeah, he was my boiling heart. I think he was excellent. He just takes responsibility, and I think his finishing is excellent. The header was really tough. He's up, he's anticipating, I know it was worked on, but the all-round play was great. Got 2 assists as well.
The first assist obviously is great as well to pick out Pedro. I think he Neto actually, but it went to Neto.
These are just things that we couldn't have done last season. You can't. It's nothing. It's just the players. And this is an example of you put a better player in there and things just look so much better. And sometimes people need to look past managers. Good managers can have bad teams. I think that's the reality.
What I said last season when I was watching, the team under Maresca was that the structure looks amazing.
We both said that. We both said it looks so much better, but you just need good players now.
Yeah.
And then once you've got good players and we know that they're good, then you look at the manager and you go, you've got to win the big games with these players.
Yeah.
And that's when you can swap them. And then you get in someone like an Ancelotti or, someone experienced to go, take this team to the next level. I'm not saying to get him in, but it's that kind of thing. You've got to build it up in the right way.
Ancelotti, but
you wouldn't put Ancelotti with the team we had last season. He wouldn't know, a bit like we did at Real Madrid. He doesn't know what he's going to do. So we're going in the right direction. I think that's key.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a quick chat about Steva because he doesn't come up in any of our attempts yet as well. Obviously, 18 years old. The fact that we're not talking about how we're missing Cole Palmer after this game, I think it's testament to him. That he came into that role, looked really comfortable, sort of playing down wide right, but also when Gusto came up and helped him, coming inside in that sort of inside 10 role, that exactly how Palmer would play when Gusto's outside him, or in fact, exactly how Palmer did play in the Club World Cup final when Gusto was outside him. So, yeah, really impressed with Stevao's first two games, and there's definitely a chance that he'll start again on Saturday against Fulham.
What I like about Stevao Willian is I think he's very direct in what he wants to do. He's always thinking forward. I'd compare him now to... I actually think Cole Palmer's playing quite poorly, generally, and has been for a bit. Not in the Club World Cup, but I think he sometimes takes too much time. Palmer almost thinks he's got to do everything. I think this period of him not being there will actually be quite good for the team. I think people like Willian, who aren't really at that level where they're overthinking things, just playing within themselves, I think that's always really good. See it with Pedro as well. So I'm really happy with him coming in. I think he will have bad games. That's, he's going to get out muscled maybe, or, he's going to come up against people who are better than him. But at the moment, I think the fixture list suits him quite well. I think he's, Fulham's another good game for him. Don't think their wing back's particularly strong. So, although I did see they have Robinson back actually, so I think he is a top player. But yeah, I think opportunity knocks for Willian. I think he's settled in nicely. He's got a weird aura about him. I said this before. He kind of, I don't know. He's got people respecting him on the ball quite early. It's quite strange to see.
For his age, I mean, it is amazing, really.
Very, very mature performance though. I like the flicks. I know Maresca didn't really like him, but I like it.
I don't think Maresca doesn't like the flicks. I think obviously picking your time and whenever it is, West Ham first 10 minutes came out, tried that probably was their strongest period. That's what wasn't the time, I don't think, to.
If it had gone through that guy's legs, Paqueta's legs, and it, or that was Paqueta.
I just think pick and choose your moments to be creative, and that wasn't it in your own, halfway in your own half there. West Ham had the tails up a little bit at that point.
Yeah, maybe. Good stuff. Right, well, that was a very good attempts. Let's move on to some other bits and pieces. So, Cucurella.
Yeah, Cucurella's new contract. Obviously, the extension. I think this is one thing that Blue Co have made really clear. They did this with Cole Palmer last year. The star performers, the ones they can rely on week in, week out, that are showing up, playing really well. The wages you come in, all this incentive-based money that we're getting, the base wages is low, but if we get into the Champions League, we do this. And if you're our best player or one of our players of the season, you get a big pay rise and a contract extension. It's all revolved around performance. I really, really love that aspect of it. Sort of everyone's fitting into this wage model, but Cucurella, 5,000 minutes for Chelsea last season, not moaning, not wanting to be rested, doesn't get injured, puts in incredible performances week in, week out, scoring key goals, but also defending at such an elite level. Here you go, here's a massive pay rise and extension. I think that's a great model to show other players, look, you play well, you become our player of the season, here's a nice little pay bump. They've done it with Caicedo as well. Have they done it yet, or it's in the pipeline?
Yeah, I think they did it. Did they not do it last season with him?
Yeah, set for pay rise, in May, signs new deal. I don't think they actually have done it yet, but I know Caicedo will be one as well. But if you think about Chelsea's top three performers, if you're doing performance reviews, Chris,
do love a good performance review.
Cucurella, Caicedo and Palmer, they'd be top marks in the performance reviews, and they've been rewarded financially, and I do like that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he's one of the best left backs in the league, I think. I think a Liverpool game yesterday with Kirkez showed you that people are thinking they've got the best left back, but nah. Cucurella for me, top. I think he's top 2, top 3. I don't really know any. Who are the other really good ones? I really don't know.
Well, Robinson at Fulham is potentially up there.
Yeah, I would say he's probably one of the really. I think he's a good buy. I wouldn't say he's the best performer. Like, he's still got a good.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many, to be honest. Obviously, the Guy Mendes at PSG is in if you're talking about globally, he's probably up there. But I don't know. Cucurella might be the best in the world, to be honest.
For me, he is. Just get so much out of him as well. Right, Garnacho and Simmons, the two sort of waiting at the train station or the airport still. I
think my understanding of these deals, especially Garnacho, I think that's just a done deal. I think they've even got it done with United. They're just waiting for the green light to get that done. I think they want to prioritise the central attacker. Xavi Simmons, I think, is could be done, but also I think we're hearing rumours today that they're interested in the guy from Barcelona. Is a Fermin Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez.
And it wouldn't shock me if that one falls through, but I'm confident it will go through. But it wouldn't shock me if they pivot last minute. And I think one of the reasons they might pivot is because I think Villa are interested in Sterling and one of Nkunku and Jackson. And there's a certain Morgan Rogers at Villa that I know Chelsea are very interested in. So just never know what's happening with that position. Oh
yeah, that'll be a good time. I'd love Morgan Rogers at Chelsea. For me, that's a top signing if we can get him. What you're getting with him as well.
Think about the way we play now, dropping the double 10s. Even now Palmer's injured. I mean, Pedro and Rogers in as those 2 10s now, in and outside the box with Delap ahead of them. That excites me as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different options now with if we sign a player like Rogers. So yeah, but just that position needs to be addressed. Obviously, if it's Xavi Simons, then great as well. I think he clearly fits the bill, not just from a ability standpoint, from age profile, etc. So yeah, I think those are the 2 additions that we need to make. I'm a bit surprised that we haven't gone centre back. I know we've been linked with a couple of other guys again today, but I can't see them pulling the trigger maybe on centre back, which is surprising to me, really is, and disappointing, to be honest. But we'll see.
All the eggs in the Fofana basket where you don't want them. And Nkunku and Jackson, who are waiting
it's a bad basket.
Yeah, it's a bad basket. And Nkunku and Jackson are waiting to leave. These will get done, we think. Yeah.
I'm I think very confident that they'll get done in the sense that it's either going to be a loan with an obligation to buy or a sale. I think as you get closer to the window, you get some of these cash-strapped clubs that have spent their budget but still need a bit of purchase or a bit more attacking talent. It's teams exactly like Villa. Newcastle, I think, is another one that maybe was previously ruled out for Jackson, but I think now could be definitely back in. I think Jackson, there's clearly a lot of interest that's been well reported that people, not just in England but around Europe as well. So they'll be shocked if that doesn't get done. And Nkunku, with the wages, I think he's keen to play. I think he'll end up somewhere in Germany in Nkunku, but I think both of those will get done one way or the another. And just with reference to the other outs as well, Chilwell, I think, is the only one that might end up, being stuck here. Doesn't seem to be really any interest in it there at all. I know Sterling has some interest with Fulham and maybe some other Premier League clubs. Wants to stay in England, specifically London if he can. So we'll see. I think the outs, Dizazi is another one as well. Could end up down in Bournemouth, it looks like today, or Wolves potentially has been linked with him as well. These guys will all get done. I think Chelsea. I think I posted yesterday in the WhatsApp group. I think it's almost 30 outs that they've done already this summer. I mean, it's unbelievable work.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think doing well on the outs. I do think the Sterling and the Chilwell is the ones that if we can get them gone, that's a huge.
I'll be shocked if we can get either of those 2 out permanently. I mean, it's just it seems very hard.
So much money. It's like $500,000 a week between them, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah, I think alone with them paying a significant amount of the salary, we'll take that right now for sure.
Yeah. All right. Obviously, there was a goal scorer yesterday who popped up for the winner at St. James's Park. Rio Ingamaha.
Yeah, I think one that got away at Chelsea Academy. I know there's a lot of disappointment around the club that he was able to leave to Liverpool. I know Chelsea took already to tribunal trying to get a fee for him or trying to negotiate what exactly happened in that situation, and the compensation that they're due, I guess, it would be financial as well. But yeah, I think disappointing that a prospect of that ability, and I know Chelsea rated him really, really highly, could actually go to a rival club. I think there's a bit of an unspoken agreement amongst top clubs that you don't poach the other one's top talent. That is sort of a bit of an unspoken agreement amongst the top clubs that doesn't really happen. And I think Liverpool sort of broke that a little bit, and I think Chelsea were really unhappy with that, to the point where they didn't even let their scouts come into the next youth game to watch and to scout. The Liverpool scouts were banned, so I think that shows you the level of animosity between the two clubs at the moment with regards to that. So really disappointing, but he looks like a good player.
Yeah, it does. An excerpt from The Athletic, came down to being unconvinced a pathway existed into the first team set up at Stamford Bridge. Obviously,
I don't see how you could come to that conclusion really when we're super weak at left wing. I mean, we had Sancho on loan there last season. You look at before that, but also the pathway is there. We start 3/4 of our defence on that started against Palace, right? Was academy.
Yeah,
it was Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, and who else was? I mean, the Chelsea Academy players that have made it have been really, really good, and also we've had academy players that have played a lot for us, like Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher, that have been sold for big fees. I don't know. I'm surprised that anyone would think that the pathway isn't there for successful players to come and play from our academy. Just don't see how. Oh, Levi Colwill, sorry, is the other one, right?
Yeah. I was going to say Colwill now.
Yeah.
Look, it's a tough one, but who knows? Solanke thought he was better off getting some at Liverpool as well. He's now he's at Tottenham now, so pathways don't always exist wherever you think they are. Grass isn't always greener, but to be fair, Liverpool might need a little bit of extra because they are looking a bit weak in attack, I'd say, in terms of depth, like you mentioned earlier.
I mean, Acheampong's a great example as well. Last week, was trusted to start against Palace. In a situation where he's 19 years old, and I find it hard to believe that anyone coming through Chelsea can look at the first team and think there's no way that I'm going to make it there, or there's no pathway for me. When you look at Reece James, Chalobah, Acheampong, Colwill, I mean, there's plenty more as well that are currently starting for Chelsea. I mean, Reece James is the captain right now, so he's come through our academy. It just seems like there's a very clear pathway if you're good enough to make it.
Yeah. And, Chelsea Academy is a good place to be. And they're in the EFL Cup tonight as well. So, wish them well. That's all we've got time for today. We'll be back with a preview pod for Chelsea Fulham, which is on Saturday morning, 12:30. Set your clocks. For more updates and all things ESL, you can obviously follow us on X at Eat Sleep Chelsea and Instagram at Eat Sleep Chelsea Repeat. Give us a like and a comment if you're listening, wherever you're listening to the podcast. And as always, we hope you're carefree wherever you may be. And thanks for listening.